Hi everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you in our Saturday live session. My name is Vanshika and I am one of the co-founders of Fraternity. And Fraternity is a platform where we are sharing the stories of chartered accountants who have something different to share than the usual. And we have an idea to create a tightly knitted community where every professional can share their scent with respect to their domain. And following the same thing, we have CA Sripal Jain with us today, who is a chartered accountant as well as a certified public accountant. And he is he's a founder of the leading institute in India for CPA coaching, which is Seemanther Education. Seemanther Education is the partner for placements with many companies like Genpact, Infosys, etc., to name a few. And today we have him on our platform so that we can dive into the world of CPA and discuss everything about it from scratch to finish. So let's just take CA CPA Sripal Jain with us live. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, hi Vanshika. Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great, sir. I'm great. And welcome to our Saturday live session. Thank you so much for being a part of our platform.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Vanshika. I'm humbled enough and honored enough to be invited by such young entrepreneurs. So I'm excited today to start our conversation and looking forward.
So the feelings are mutual this side as well. We are also very excited to have you here, and I'm very excited personally to be the host.
Thank you so much.
All right, so today's session will be divided into two parts. In the first part, we will have a few questions answered, everything about CPA. And in the second part, we will take up questions from the audience's side. So let's just start.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would just like to know something briefly about your journey, your professional journey, as to how did you start and how did you eventually come into CA and then CPA, and what you are doing now. So just a brief something about that.
Okay, so basically I've done my chartered accountancy in 2011 and thereby I started, so I did my CPA in 2013 and I worked with Infosys. So I started my journey with Infosys and been with Infi for 4 years, and then I worked with Ernst& Young and TechM and 2016, and I started Samandar Education, and it's been with Samandar since 4 years now almost, and have been training for US CPA aspirants, US CMA aspirants, Diploma IFRS, enroll agents, US tax. So we being tied up with almost all the big fours. So to name a few, Deloitte, EY. We are also tied up with BDO on Diploma IFRS. So apart from that, we are also doing a lot of corporate sessions, including me, which have been running some of the sessions in Reliance and Infosys. So these are some of the companies which we are working with, including D. Shaw and Novartis. So these are some of the things what we have done. And apart from that, I have also corrected the CA papers also at national level, and now I'm not correcting it. So I hope the students won't ask me any of the questions because I've stopped correcting the CA papers. So I've been the examiner with ICI, and also have been teaching the CA students. And the moment I got associated as an examiner with ICI, I left teaching the CA students and then kind of moved into the US CPA training as such.
Okay. Okay, so what was the main factor behind you leaving your job and, as you said, and moving to the CPA coaching field?
So I think the important factor was that many of the students in chartered accountancy were not passing. So as you know that out of 100 students, as a percentage, only 15 or 12 people pass. So that is a pass percentage. So what about the remaining 85%? So on that basis, we thought that why don't we build something as an alternative for the students so that they can make the career into it and kind of pass the exam. And that's where we started the US CPA training. And we have been placing a lot of the people who have passed the CPA and who have like passed the chartered accountancy, semi-qualified chartered accountants, and who have done CPA now, and they are now mighty successful and working with big fours now. So that was the idea actually, because many of them I was noticing that they were not kind of passing the exam based on some of their own limitations. They were putting up more attempts. So they were taking more than 4 to 5 attempts to write the C exams. And we thought, why don't we have an idea of running different courses like US CPA, US CMA, IFRS, and all sort of stuff, and thereby giving the students various options other than chartered accountancy also, so that they can do parallelly along with CA and also have a backup option with them.
Yeah, definitely. So you feel that CPA is a good option for both qualified chartered accountants as well as the students maybe who are struggling to clear their CA exams?
So I think US CPA is a fantastic option, to be honest. Actually, I see a lot of the people doing ACCA, but as far as I see the outsourcing coming up, a lot of the companies coming from US to India. So a lot of work from US is getting outsourced to India. So we see a huge demand for US companies. And that's where we are expecting that a lot of the US companies are already there in India. You see Apple, Facebook, Capgemini, Cognizant, Deloitte, EY. So there are Standard Chartered, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. So there's so many US companies are in India now operating. So it definitely makes sense, because India is also opening up their FDI. A couple of days back, they have started FDI in defense sector, and that is a big reform. Before that, even in the retail, you are seeing that Walmart have come and are investing here. So even the latest news of Facebook investing in Reliance. So we are seeing a lot of the US based investment coming in India, and that's where we expect that there is a huge demand for the US CPA and various other international accounting qualifications. And also I see that most of them might do CPA and set up, the chartered accountants might set up a CPA firm here. And that's what Narendra Modi's ambition is, of our Prime Minister wants that a CA firm should also go global. If you want a CA firm to go global, you definitely need to do a global qualification along with your chartered accountancy. So I would say a lot of the practicing CA firms are not doing a lot of international work, and thereby there is a strong opportunity to bring the work from US or other countries to India, and thereby leveraging this entire outsourcing kind of work what other companies are doing. So the CA firms can definitely do justice to that through these qualifications.
Definitely. So we would just like to know how is the CPA course structure? Like if someone is interested to pursue CPA, so how should one go about it? Like how many exams are there? How many levels are there?
US CPA is unlike chartered accountancy. CA is very tough. You also know that. So it's one of the most respected qualification today in the world. And US CPA on that front is not so tough, I would say. It's only 4 papers. So you need to pass just 4 papers, and there is only one level. Unlike chartered accountancy where CPT, IPCC and final is there, now there is no CPT. It's CA foundation to be precise. So now we don't have in CPA like that barriers. So only requirement for CPA is that you need to be a BCom. So if you're a BCom and a CA inter, you're eligible for CPA and write the exam. So you don't need to complete even CA in order to sit for the CPA exam. So that makes it very good and makes it easy enough for you to sit for the CPA exam. So the eligibility is very much easy, and thereby you can sit for the CPA exam and write it. So there are 4 papers. The minimum you would need to score is 75%, unlike CA where you need to score 40%, and I mean aggregate of 40% and every paper like so 50 and
Yeah, yeah,
sort of
50
stuff.
in
But in
total, yeah.
CPA, so in CPA, it's not like that. So you need to score minimum of 75% in order to get it correct. So we are talking about 3/4 to be correct. So, and it's a multiple choice question and essay based question paper. So 50% is multiple choice questions and 50% is essay. As you know, all the professional examinations are going online and the exams are being conducted online. So you need to go to a prometric center like we have the CAT exam. So CAT, GRE, GMAT. The same way CPA also needs to go to a prometric center. You need to go there and write your exams. It's a computerized exam, and that's where it kind of makes you special, that you don't need to kind of have a physical pen pencil exam, but this is more computerized and more practical and appealing to the corporates now because of the technology which the corporates are adopting.
Yeah. Is there an internet issue? I think.
No, I think I'm able to hear you, Manshika.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so there's a slight internet issue from my side, guys. Sorry for that, but we are trying our best. All right. Yeah, okay, so as you told that there are only 4 exams to pass and there are no 3-level system like it is there in Indian CA.
Yes, that's right.
So I think that makes it a wonderful career opportunity as well because there are only 4 exams to write and I think that's wonderful. It can be completed in a year's time also.
Yes, so unlike chartered accountancy, which takes typically 3.5 to 4 years closer, provided you pass it
Yeah.
in first shot, CPA is not like that. So CPA has only 4 papers, so you can complete it within 1 year. And I would say some of them have completed within 9 to 10 months also. So chartered accountancy, on the other hand, is very much detailed, very much exhaustive. So in that way, it takes more than 4 years, but CPA is little lesser on that. I would say 1/4 of the number of years to complete.
Yeah, yeah. And so what are the subjects there in CPA? Like how much are they similar to the Indian CA subjects?
So typically, I would say US taxation is a very different subject for chartered accountants. So we don't have in our CA curriculum any US tax and US GAAP. So these are the 2 sections, and remaining is audit and BEC. So I think that are 2 subjects which are similar to chartered accountancy, but again the content and the portion, the way of testing is very different because it's a multiple choice question based examination, right? So that's where the testing is a little
100%
different.
is 100% is this multiple choice based examination or there is some 50
No.
50 ratio or something?
So it is a 50% multiple choice and 50% is essay. So when we are
Okay.
talking about 50% essay, it is like more of a open book system. So when we tell open book of essay, so it's a digital open book where you'll need to read the Bare Act and answer the questions. So it's a digital literature which is given to you. You'll need to read the literature and answer the questions. So essay questions,
Okay.
when I tell, like are our comprehensions which we used to be asked in 10th class. So they used to give a big
Mm-hmm.
comprehension and then they ask 5 6 questions out
Yeah.
of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, it
Yeah,
works like it's
comprehension section in English.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So the case studies are there.
Yes, so it typically works like a case study, whereby I think instead of Chartered Accountancy of India is also trying to shift into a case study model. Already, I think MCQs they have done it to 30% in IPCC. So we'll see
Yeah.
that even
Few
Institute
papers.
is planning to adopt that because that is more internationally accepted and being tested properly, even from the students' perspective.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. So, sir, what according to you is the right time to opt for the CPA qualification, like post qualifying CA or as a CA student?
So I would say that if you're preparing for CA, I think definitely go for CPA, because this is one qualification which you will be kind of having it along with chartered accountancy. If you have failed CA for say 2-3 attempts, so I would rather suggest that you should do a CPA, complete it in a year, get a job, and then try to do CA again. So that would be my request, because see, even after 3-4 attempts, the companies normally don't hire you, because nowadays the big fours are hiring first attempt guys. So in that way, if you have a CP along with that, so that kind of offset your attempts which you have given in chartered accountancy. So if he's a CA inter or if he's a chartered accountant, I would definitely suggest that he should do a CPA. And majorly for the CA students, if they are financially not so weak, I would say definitely go in for CPA. But because the CPA exam is also very costly, so if you see the CPA course, it comes around 3,12,000 INR. And if you see the CA course, it comes around what, not even 1 lakh. But then again, in CA also, a lot of the coaching what we spend, it definitely comes to two,
Yeah.
2.5 lakhs. So again, it depends on individual to individual how they want to compare it. But there's definitely a value for CPA actually, to be honest. So if you are not passing CA in the first shot, or have taken couple of attempts, then I think definitely you should opt it for CPA and start your journey straight away.
Right. So, sir, what are the value additions that a CA plus CPA would get, which maybe just a chartered accountant wouldn't? Like, what leverage
So
would
what
it offer?
happens is, now we place a lot of the people in Standard Chartered, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. So all these banks are also listed in Singapore, right? So they have all their main headquarters in Singapore. So they follow IFRS. So a lot of they are also compliant with SEC requirements. So say Securities Exchange Commission, like we have in SEBI in India, in US that is known as SEC guidelines. So FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, so financial crimes, fraud. So these sort of profiles definitely require a CPA knowledge to it, because a lot of them are US based companies. So you would need to have a good knowledge about the US law and US tax and US accounting. So that's where I would say that a CA plus CPA definitely would be a strong plus. And then again, there are so many chartered accountants today, and to compete against them, an additional qualification will help you in getting your resume selected. So in resume selection, it would definitely help around. But having said that, chartered accountancy is more than sufficient. But yes, if CPA comes, it's like Sone pe Suhaga jaisa.
Right. Are there job opportunities, like you mentioned, in India and abroad, like both for CPA, or is it only restricted to abroad?
So I think the major opportunities for CPA is in India now, because they are trying to compete against chartered accountants. A lot of the companies now are comfortable in hiring the CPAs also. The big fours have given their norm, because if you see that big four India work is not going well, right? So if you see Deloitte India, EY India, KPMG India, or Grant Thornton India, because of the ILNFS fraud which have happened, and also there are a lot of things which have happened, and a lot of regulatory issues are coming up. So what your big fours are trying to do is they're going more into advisory work rather than audit work. So when they are going into an advisory work, then CA or CPA doesn't matter to them. What matters is for them is the skills. If they are going for an audit, then I can understand chartered accountants is mandatory because of its signature. But if they are not going for audit work, because we are not seeing much of the audit work coming now, and we are seeing a lot of the US based work coming to India, and thereby we see that the demand for US CPA is very, very high in India, I would say. And in US, anyways,
Yeah.
that's a US chartered accountancy. So abroad, it will be anyways there. But again, CPA is not a qualification to go to US, right? So that is a misconception and the misguidance which is being given by the institutes, that you would kind of move to US with CPA. It doesn't happen like that, because you also know that going to US requires visa, requires experience. So it is not that if I've done a CPA, Donald Trump is waiting for you. Okay, please come. You have done CPA, so let me welcome you to US. It will not happen. Then everyone would have done CPA, right? So please don't get
Of course.
misguided by these institutes. So I think US CPA is definitely a good qualification. Once you move to US, I think there it adds a lot of value. But this is not your passport to go to US. So that is a misconception which you need to be taking out. So because this is very important information today, what I'm telling. And second important thing is a lot of the institutes are misguiding the students about US CPA getting $2 lakh, $1 lakh in US. Please understand, guys, US $1 lakh is India's 9 lakh or 10 lakhs only. Don't get excited that you're earning 60 lakhs, 70 lakhs, because the taxes are really high. And if you're married like me, then you will not have anything to save. If you're unmarried, very good. You will need to kind of be with around 4 or 5 room members and try to save cost, run in a pizza center and do a lot of stuff and try to save money. And that is what it will happen. So things looks, always grass looks greener at the other side, but there are a lot of challenges when you're moving abroad. So please don't get misguided with this institute. $1 lakh CPA karke you'll move to US. It will not happen so easily, actually, to be honest. But yes, there is an option that, but it's not so easy.
And CPA exams can also be conducted in India, which was not the case earlier, if I am right. So
Yes.
how is it differentiated from before? How is it before and how is it now?
So previously CPA exams were conducted in US and Dubai. So now I think the exams are in India also. So that is a kind of big news which is coming up for CA candidates, because they used to find CPA exam very costly. And now I don't think so that they will find it costly, because the exam is in India, so they can save the travel cost a lot there. So that is where you will kind of, I think, save a lot of cost on the exam front. So if the exam is in India, I think that's a huge plus for the CA professionals. So now they can take the exam comfortably.
Yeah, definitely. And what is the eligibility for opting for the CPA course? Like,
So
do
if
you
you're
need to
looking for,
be? Yeah,
so if
please.
So if you're looking for eligibility, as I've already discussed, so you would need to be a BCom and a BCom plus CA Inter. So I think that should be more precise, I would say. So a bachelor's degree is a mandatory thing. And apart from that, if you have a CA Inter qualification, or I mean, if you have passed IPCC, I think that's a good bet. Even if you're a BCom, I think you can still write the CPA exam. We have a bridge course which is being aligned for the students. So even if they are a graduate, they can still write the CPA exam. That doesn't make them stop, but there are certain things which we need to work out. So they'll need to be in touch with our institute, Simandar Education, and kind of get the guidance from there, and we can kind of help them out.
Yeah, so it is also an opportunity for the CA dropouts or the people who don't want to continue CA for whatever reasons. They can obviously go with the CPA, and they will
Yes,
definitely get benefited from it, right?
yes.
All right. Sir, as you mentioned that 75 marks are required individually. So, is it easy to score 75? Like in CAs, there is this conception that scoring 75 plus is a bit hard. So, how is it like in CPA?
So in CPA, it is not like that, because it's not so tough, I would say. And if you see that the exam is a graded exam, so it's a multiple choice question, and above 50% it is a simulation based, which is an open book system. So that is where it is, I would say it's not so tough like chartered accountancy and all. And I think I would say it is 20% of CA course. So CPA is not, but again, if you're overconfident and if you think that you can do anything, if you're a chartered accountant, then you'll definitely fail in this exam. So any exam requires that you be humble and be patient and be passionate. And I think these are the three things which you require in order to excel in the CPA exam. I think rest, everything is perfect, I would say.
And if somebody is a CA dropout, then obviously that person knows how to sit for long hours and do all the hard
Yeah,
work
I
and
think,
stuff. So it's
see, I think
easier.
it's a big decision for a chartered accountant dropout, because to leave a CA course and then come to another course, that itself is a big. So we understand that. So whenever a lot of our students who are coming from CA Inter and they come here in Simandar, and we pass them, and now they are working with EY, Deloitte, and all. So we are well aware of that, because we know that what is the pain of leaving a chartered accountancy course and coming into a new course. So we rather are very, very careful when we are doing our teaching or when we are doing our services. So that's where we are mighty careful on that, and we take care of each and everything whatever they are requiring. So that is how we kind of helping the students in that way. And so it is important. I would appeal to all other institutes, because a lot of the CA students are trying to do this and they are not able to pass. And if they are moving into a CPA course, I would strongly suggest that they be very good in their services, because that's a big decision a student is taking in order to move from CA to CPA or any other course for that matter.
Yeah. So, sir, what is the job market like for CPA? Like, if someone is just a CPA and he doesn't have the CA qualification, so what kind of field does a CPA get into? Like, only considering he has the CPA qualification.
So I would say if he's a alone CPA, so we have placed the people at 7.5 lakhs per annum. So that's a fresher salary, or a salary package for a fresher in a big four. And so there are immense job opportunities. And I'm not sure about what others are doing, because we are well connected with leaders. So we do a one call to a CFO and the things work out. So that is how we work. So actually we are connected, and that is I would say point for placing the students. And it is important that an institute also take up the responsibility of placing students. So thereby, I think we are doing that, and we are tied up with various companies like Virtusa, as we've already discussed, right? Virtusa, EY, Invesco, Deloitte, Capgemini, Genpact. So these are all the companies which we are already working with. So I don't think so that we face any issues in placing the students. Now we have got, even in JP Morgan, we have placed a lot of the students now. They have given their interviews. So just a plain CPA. So as I've already discussed, a lot of the US based companies are coming in India, and a lot of CPA firms also have opened up their branches in India. So the opportunities are immense if you're a CPA qualified.
Right. And so what field is it? Like, is it audit primarily, or the IFRS part, like the FRS? What is it like?
That's a fantastic question, because a lot of the students also have that doubt that which profile they get after they pass CPA.
Yeah.
So majorly they go into audit or tax, and some of the times we try to push them into Standard Chartered Bank, whereby more of financial crime fraud profile or internal audit profile. So these are the creamy profiles, or I would say demanding profiles now. And apart from that, we have something called as, I think, advisory. So a lot of the big fours have an advisory services also, where they implement IFRS US GAAP. So I think they are well suited in that particular profiles also. So that is a good thing what we have in CPA. I don't think so that a CPA can be placed in an Indian company, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for an Indian company to hire a US CPA, because they are having knowledge of US GAAP and all IFRS and all. So Indian company, if they are IFRS compliant, or if they have adopted Ind AS, then I think US CPA might have an value. Else, I don't think so. It really adds value in Indian companies, but it definitely adds value in US companies operating in India. And we are seeing US companies operating in India have outnumbered the Indian companies, both in terms of culture and in pay. So that is where we are expecting that. See, whether I do a whether I do a Indian education or a foreign education, for Sripal Jain, what matters is that students are placed or not, right? So that is what for me is important. So if they are getting placed, if our Indians are getting jobs, so why shouldn't I do any of the courses? So I don't think so that education should be limited to what foreign or local or what all sort of stuff, because all of that companies are anyways in India. So it's high time that we understand that, and we apply and we get the jobs and be placed and settle nicely. And so these are the profiles. So if you're asking me what is a job growth, if I'm a CPA, so I can think that I can become a partner if I'm a CPA in a big four. So that is a last level, I would say. So 2 CR to 3 CR is your package if you're a partner at that level. But again, I don't want to kind of tell you that partner is so easy. You also know that becoming a partner in a big four is not such a small thing. It's a huge achievement. So that way, I would say that that is the
And it
growth we are
involves
looking for.
lots more other skills also.
Correct. Correct. And here in US based companies operating in India like SAP, WNS, Oracle, Capgemini, Cognizant. So you are aiming for a finance head or a CFO position with a US CPA qualification. So that is the value of US CPA in India, and that is a job growth or the progress of the profile, I would say. And if you're looking for M&A and all, I would say CFA plays a better role. I don't think so. Mergers and acquisition CPA is handy there, because I think CFA does a fantastic job there. And so we don't train for CFA, but
Yeah,
if
that
you're
is more
inclined
on the
towards,
finance side.
correct. So if you're more towards the mergers and acquisition, transaction advisory services, so definitely going for CFA. We don't train for CFA, but I strongly encourage, if your interest is for equity research, for stock markets, for mergers, for acquisitions, for getting a job in an IB, in an equity research, then I would say CFA plus FRM plus MBA. These are the three things which you'll need to do up. So why am I telling CFA plus FRM plus MBA? Because CFA typically are being hired as analysts. So they cannot become managers, or they cannot become senior managers and all sort of stuff, because management subject itself is not there in CFA. Right? So CFA have only the derivatives and the portfolio management, all sort of stuff. So that's why you see that a lot of the CFAs are also MBAs, because management is an important. So I can take him, I can hire him as senior analyst. What if for the next level, if I want to make him as a manager, he should definitely do a management qualification. And that's where you see that CPAs sometimes outbeat them, or any other qualification for that matter, chartered accountancy also. So that's where a
Yeah.
CFA plus MBA, IIM. So if you see a lot of the IIM guys, they normally do CFA also along with that. So CFA standalone, I won't say that you would kind of progress like CPA progresses in their career growth. CFA will definitely have to be coupled with that. So if your interest is into corporate finance and all sort of stuff, CFA is a good combination there. I think
Yeah.
that's what Dhuman is writing. Even CAs are hired as analysts, but I would say chartered accountancy have management subject there. So that's where they can definitely become CFOs or managers, senior managers. But CFA, I don't think so, because they don't have any management subject in their curriculum. So they really don't have the skills how to manage a team. And that is where I think a chartered accountancy would outnumber CFA there.
Right. So CPA is more towards the accounting and auditing side, and CFA is, of course, the finance related side.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So an advice that you would like to give to all the students who are planning to do CPA, and the kind of students or professionals you think are the most apt for doing CPA.
So I would say not only CPA, my strong appeal is whatever you want to do it, just ensure that you are interested in that. If you're not interested, whatever qualification you do, it doesn't make any sense. It's a rubbish for you. So it is important that you find what is your interest in, what is that you want to excel. Do you want, are you passionate about numbers? So then accounting is a good profile for you. Are you passionate about audit? Then accounting is a good profile for you. Are you passionate about researching a stock? Are you reading newspapers and tracking the stock markets? And CFA is a good profile. So it all depends on the interest, I would say. And once you're interested, don't go back, because and then select an institute which is very genuine. Do 30 times due diligence and find out that, yeah, is that an institute correct? Is the mentor correct? The person who's teaching himself is a CPA, or the institute who's running, that person himself should be first of all a CPA. That will give them a justice, and that will make you ensure that you are in the right place. So that is what I would say, and that's my sincere advice to all the CA students. Don't be limited to chartered accountancy. Don't keep believing the coaching center's words like write 10 attempts, 11 attempts, and after passing 12 attempts, please don't write your inspirational stories, because it really doesn't make any sense for me. You spending 12, 13 attempts, and then you come back and see in the market that no one is hiring because you're already above 30 years. Right? So you don't want that. You be mighty proactive. If you're not able to clear in 1 or 2 attempts, just take a pause, do another qualification, whether be CPA, CFA, or any of that which suits you or which you have keen interest on. So it is not that it's a crime that if you have left chartered accountancy and if you're doing anything else, it is not a crime. So don't go into the society's words, you have left CA and all. Really don't care about others when you're doing something. So that is my second advice, that always have trust in yourself. A lot of the people always were laughing when I started CPA Institute 4 years back, and they were telling, Sripal, why didn't you start, all are doing CA training and you're doing a CPA. So people will laugh in starting, and then they actually accept that. So that is what I would say. People will laugh, so you don't be bothered at all. So I would say you just go on. If you're interested, just stick to it and master that qualification. I would say at the end of the day, qualification is very much irrelevant. It's more about the skills, and I think that is what you would need to kind of focus on. So that's my third advice to the students. So I think, guys, please take a very what you say a strict decision. But once you have taken a decision, don't go back. And yes, I know. I think Vanshika, there are a lot of parents who don't want their kids to leave CA. Please don't make it a norm. This is not some society that we should do only chartered accountancy. There are so many courses in India. So on me being a chartered accountant, it's not like I would talk about chartered accountancy, but I don't want people to be pressurized in order to do CA and all, right? If they are not feeling that, if they are finding a lot of pressure in that, so they should do something which really interests them, whether be dancing, whether be singing, whether be doing anything for that matter. So don't get, so try to convince your parents first. And if you're able to convince them, I think you're able to convince your interviewer also in getting your job, right? So I think that's my last advice.
Yeah, and even like you discussed about skill set. So what do you think is the current job market like? What are the basic skill sets that are required? Like qualifications don't really work until you have the required skill set. So what is that skill set which primarily helps a person crack the interview?
So the first skill set is being honest and ethical in its approach, and that is a first skill everyone needs to have. And I'm sure half the Indians don't have that, because in the resume they will write something, and when the interviewer asks something, they are writing something, they are talking something else. So your eyes should speak truth. So that is the first skill what I'm talking about. And the second skill is always be confident when you're writing, when you're talking to people. Give a good handshake, be very confident, and be very positive in your communication. Don't be a complaining person, always complaining that I have not got this, I have not got that. And that are the skill sets which you will need to kind of put it. Apart from that, use your sweet own time in Excel. Try to practice Microsoft Excel, Power BI, business intelligence. So these are the new tools, data analytics. So these are some of the fantastic skill sets which are coming up. So these three things, if you are able to do it, Power BI, Excel, and Tally. Today also, I feel that Tally is something which most of them don't know. So please take your time and try to do it. Don't go for big things like I'll go for blockchain, data analytics, artificial intelligence from some university and spend 30 lakhs of your parents. You can definitely go for Udemy or any other courses where it is available at 20, 13,000, 14,000. So I think that are also very valid. And IFRS, I would say, is a very important skill set. For all the chartered accountants, I would say definitely go in for even the CAs who are pass out. IFRS is becoming the big norm, and we are seeing that banks will also adopt that next year. So India's, they have not adopted yet. Banks and NBFCs, once it applies there's a tremendous job opportunities for that. So I would say that these are some of the skill set. And one and the final skill set is go for an interview where your interest lies. Simply don't go for an interview for getting a job. Just see, understand that you really are
Or even
interested, read the article reports.
yeah, even the
Yeah.
pay for that matter. Like people are generally motivated seeing the pay scale, but then they leave because they are not really interested into that profile. So it is very important to
Yeah,
know
I
where
think
your interest lies.
correct. I think that's rightly pointed out, because pay is something which is a deciding factor for a middle class family, and I really respect
Yeah.
that. So that is definitely a consideration for a decision to be made. But then again, I'm telling guys, in Big Fours normally don't see the pay because the growth is exponential, right? But in other industries, definitely you should negotiate. If you're talented enough, if you're skilled enough, if you're confident enough, why shouldn't an HR pay for you if you're skilled? So you won't believe, Vanshika, I have a US CMA student. So US CMA is only two parts, and I have placed that
Okay.
student in Pega Systems at 11.5 lakhs package. He's a fresher USCMA. I've just written two exams and he passed the USCMA and is a graduate. So that is where I'm
Okay.
talking about. If you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
skilled enough, if you are confident enough, his interview went on for 4 hours, and you can be in touch with him for LinkedIn. We placed him, Gokul, his name is. So he had passed USCMA from us, and then he kind of went on for interview and cracked that. But again, Now people don't try to make it students that acha USCA mein kare to 11.5 milte kya. Please don't do that. I don't want you to fall into that trap again, because I am not here to talk about packages and all sort of stuff, because who am I to decide the package of any of the qualification? It is the interviewer who would set up the packages based on your attitude and your behavior. So I would say the
Yeah.
average CTC all you candidates need to expect is around 5 to 6.5 lakhs. So that is, I think, the average CTC for a fresher.
Yeah. 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 All right. So, guys, don't be externally motivated. Judge yourself where your interest lies and what you can do with full dedication and hard work and determination, and then select whatever course you want to. And of course, CPA is a very wonderful option if you are interested in the accountancy and the auditing arena, right, sir?
So I think that's what I would say, and be very, very passionate and crazy about yourself. If you're doing something, just be crazy like Vanisha team is of fraternity. So see there, they are also doing something which they are passionate about. And that's such a wonderful initiative which is being done. So I would strongly suggest people to kind of do a work which they are passionate about. And if you see that early morning, 4 o'clock, I had a class today for US CPA. So morning 3:30, I woke up and see the voice I have, and I'm still trying to give a session, because that's where our passion is. It's something which we really like. I think we never see the time, we never see anything. But if you're
And
not
we are never
passionate, you will.
tired.
So you will keep cursing your own self, you'll keep cursing your job, you'll keep cursing your family, your parents, everyone. So I really request that do something which you're really interested on, and don't care for the society. I really don't care. And if you think that after doing CFA, CPA, you're not getting a job, please contact me and I'll show you. And your parents also, that how do we get a job with other qualifications also. It's really not dependent on CA at all.
Yeah. Right. So I think those were wonderful inputs. And lastly, one final question from my side before we move on to the audience's question. So that is, what would be your advice to your younger self, or maybe an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old person? What would be your advice regarding career?
So a career is to be selected to benefit for others, not for your own self. I think the career is not made for your own self, it is made for others. A career which is spent on serving the others is the most beneficial career, I would say. And that's where I selected a organization where I'm a teacher, helping the students and all. So that is, and that is the ultimate satisfaction you get. Apart from that, your other careers in your audit and all, try to add value to your company, not add value to your own self. The moment you try the moment you try adding value for your company, I think your growth will be exponential. If you are trying to add value for your own self, I think you will degrow. That is what it is.
Yeah.
So select a career. I think select any qualification, but ensure that you are adding value to your company or to your own work as well.
Right, right, definitely. So thank you so much for all the informative things that you've just said. And I'm sure that people must have learned a lot from all the words that you've said.
Thank you so much, Vanshika.
So moving on to the second part of our session, where we'll take up your questions. So guys, you can put your questions in the question tab, and I will take your questions from there. Okay, so Fianshu Gupta says, will one have the benefit of CPA in UK?
I think UK, you should definitely be opting ACCA. US CPA is not, I would say, much acceptable there. Though in US companies in UK, I think because US companies are already operating in various countries and all, not only in India, in London, and everywhere the US companies are there. I think that is where you might get a job. And but ACCA, I would say, add more value to UK than US CPA. Again, I don't want to talk anything wrong telling US CPA you can do and get a job in UK. I would say ACCA or ICAEW. Our ICI also have an MOU with ICAEW, which is Institute of Chartered Accountants, England and Wales. So if you do a CA, do an MOU there and get a job in UK and all. And so I would say if you're doing a CPA, I think the US companies are a little lesser in UK. And that's where the job opportunities will not be so more like you have for CIMA or ACCA in UK and Europe.
All right. So I hope your question is answered, Fianshu. ACCA for UK and CPA for US. Okay, next question is what kind of skills CPA and CA profession should work on as the world is changing?
I think the world is changing. I would say you also change along with the changing world. So that is what I can say. So when the world is
Yeah.
changing, that shows that you should also change and make it aligned along with the world. And so the best thing, what I would say, is the world is moving into technology, and you're seeing Tesla stock. It was Tesla was trading at $200 6 months back, and see now it is at $2,000. So that is what happens when you're changing along with the world and you're thinking ahead of the world. So that is where I would say that you need to understand what is a hot skills right now: cyber security, data analytics, Power BI, and these are the hot skill sets which are coming up. IFRS, and these are some of the things. Blockchain, and so these are the technologies which you need to understand the basics. Don't try to become a master and become a coder and try to write codes and tell that, oh god, what am I doing? Please don't get
Yeah.
frightened of anything. This is a problem with chartered accountants. So whenever any new thing come, they get frightened and they don't want to adopt. Please understand that. Don't get frightened. Then only you can adopt to the technological skills. So it is not that you are expected to do coding, but at least you must understand the basics.
Of course, and the principle of survival of the fittest applies everywhere. If you're not changing with the changing world, there's going to be a problem.
So these are the hot skill sets, I would say: blockchain, data analytics, AI, Power BI. So I think these are very, very important. Cyber security, because data security is becoming a big issue these days, because we all are working remotely from home. So data privacy, data security, that's where ISCA was such an important subject. But due to some of the council members, or I wouldn't say council members, or students complaining on ISCA portion, I would have to say, guys, you have done a very, very big blunder by complaining to ICI that I don't like ISCA, and you won't believe that this is a subject which is the future of our profession. So please, I would suggest that in the electives in CA final, select ISCA only. And it is very easier to pass because I have got exemption in ISCA, to be honest, because it's not much manipulated subject. Whatever is there, it's very direct, right? So I would say select ISCA, because IT, information
Sir,
security,
but
in
I don't,
very
sorry
big.
to interrupt you here, but I don't think ISCA is an elective option available in the elective subjects.
So I think in CA final, I thought ISCA was an elective subject. I have not touched CA books in Sages, so I'm not sure what is there. But I thought that ISCA was considered as an elective subject there, because people can leave ISCA and do some other thing. That's where I was thinking. So it's no more an elective, is it? Okay,
No, it is
sorry.
not. I don't think it is. Yeah.
Good that institute have not put that.
Yeah. Okay. Rachna says, is there any paper exemption for a CA in the US CPA exam?
There is no exemption. There are only 4 papers. अब क्या एक paper ही लिखते क्या? So I think there are only 4 papers. So there is no exemption whatsoever. Even if you're a chartered accountant or IAS, CPA has four
Yeah.
four
You
exams.
have to start
There
from
are no
scratch.
exemptions whatsoever. Yes. There are only 4. So why do you want exemptions again? I know why are they asking that, because ACCA plays a lot with exemption. So if you have this, you have 13 paper, 14 paper, that is all stupidity for me. I think that is all a way to manipulate the students and get them registered. I would rather suggest that there are 4 papers, stick to that. Why do you want an exemption? You want to study, or see, winning a game without playing. Definitely you can win a game, but there is no life in it, right? So that's where, if there are no subjects at all and you're getting a qualification, what is the fun of having that qualification? That's a stupidity for me. So I don't think so. People asking here for exemptions, you should have asked that add more subjects rather than reducing the subjects.
So the next question is of Meghna. After CPA, what kind of courses helps a student to scale the corporate ladder?
I think after CPA, better go on for a technology course like data analytics, artificial intelligence, and Power BI. So these are the 3 hot skill sets. And along with CPA, if you want to do CIA, is also good combination. Certified internal audit, And I think that would have a good value if you want to move into audit. If you don't want to move into internal audit, or if you want to go into IT based, then ISCA is good. CISA is good. CISA is a very good qualification. So if you don't want CISA also, and if you want to move into proper corporate, then technology courses are the order of the day. So you have data analytics, Power BI, as I've already said, and blockchain and artificial intelligence. So these are the certifications. Don't pay for 2 lakh, 3 lakhs. I think SAP also is very good. SAP training, if you can get it at 20, 25,000. So I think that also have a good certificate in your resume. It shows that you have worked on the systems. If you have not worked on the systems, just forget it that you'll get a job.
Yeah, technology is very, very important in today's era. Rightly pointed out by you. Okay. Okay, so one very interesting question from Sharad. He says, does it require cramming like CA syllabus, or is it different? Like, since you mentioned there are case studies, so I don't think there would be cramming there in CPA.
So I would say CA typically tests the patience and the discipline of a person. I think that's where I am disciplined today, waking up at morning 3:30, 4 o'clock. And I'm really proud of my qualification in that way, because chartered accountancy tests the discipline of a student. And CPA, for that matter, is a more freedom-based course. So you can write the exam any month, any day. But CA, if you see that, you're forced to write on that specific days. So Western culture is more free culture. It's free in education also. You can write the exam anytime, any day. But if you go into the East, you will see that you are being asked to write the exam on that day. That's why there is a pressure in East. There is no pressure in West, because they are very free person. There's no suicides and all. If they don't pass CPA, they don't go into the well and they think about that. So just be cool and free. And that's where I would suggest that CPA is very good in that, in mind games, I would say, because you don't have that much pressure. It's easy going. Not much pressure. I would say the portion is very easy. 50% is multiple choice and 50% is simulation. So I would say that's fantastic for a candidate to be having a selection of choices, because end of the day you have a open book system also in the other 50%. So what they are expecting is that even after you pass chartered accountancy and you are into practice, anyways you will open the books and give the advice to the clients, right? Without seeing the books,
Yeah.
without seeing the Bayer Act,
Without
you will not
cramming,
give a
okay,
single
80
advice.
section kya tha? Yeah.
Right? So that's where even the partner like referring the books. So why don't you make an open book system in CA also? So that's where I think they have tried to make open book and all. Even institute understand the curriculum and the culture of CP examination.
Right. I hope you got your answer, Sharad. Okay. Okay. What are your views on Australian CPA? Kushal says.
I think Australian CPA, only if you're going to Australia it is good, else it is not good.
Okay.
So
Like
there are no
US CPA
Australian
is good in
companies in
India as
India.
well.
Right. So what happens is US dominates, right? Dollar is more accepted. US dollars is accepted globally. That itself shows that what is the immensity of a country like US. Australia, there are hardly any Australian company. I have not seen a single Australian company here in India. And even I think ANZ, which is Australia and New Zealand, ANZ Bank, which is operating in Bangalore, and they also hire CPAs there. So I would say that Australian CPA, I know a lot of the ads are going on Facebook. Don't get misguided. If you're going to Australia, even if you're going to Australia, Australian CPA won't work, because your IELTS and all sort of stuff is required for Australia and Canada. So CPA anyways, as I've already said, US CPA doesn't help you to move to US. Neither Australian CPA helps you to move to Australia. Once you are there in that country, then that CPA qualification might help you. So in that way, Australian CPA is good. Else, I don't think so. It adds really any value at all.
All right. All right. So Nitish says CPA was a CMA job profile. So CPA job profiles we've already discussed.
Yeah.
And
So
the
CMA, I
CMA
think,
job profile.
so CMA, I think they go into financial planning and analysis. So they are the CFOs of the company. That's why I have a CMA qualification at Simandar Education, because they are the ultimate ones who are the controllers. So they are the decision makers. And also now we are seeing the management accounting. Now we don't use the word cost accountants. Now we use management accountants. So the respect of the qualification have gone up substantially. Now they do the decision making profile. So they are the controllers of the company. So what more they require is the decision making. So typically they are being hired in financial planning and analysis profile. And a lot of FP&A work is also being outsourced to India now, because the entire shared services model which we are talking about now in India today, most of them are going into an FP&A profiles only. And I think US CMA or any of the CMA would definitely help around there, and will definitely land you in a good job opportunity again. But as you know, in every country, a chartered accountant is more regarded than cost accountant. Nothing like hurting anyone's sentiments, but let me be very honest and don't try to don't want to beat around the bush and tell you that. But as you know, if there is a CPA and a CMA in front of me, and if there is a financial planning and analysis profile, then I'll give it to CMA. But if there is an audit and all, I will not hire US CMA there, because they really don't have any knowledge about audit and all. Yes, internal audit, risk based, risk advisory profiles, I think US CMAs are being hired a lot now in Big Fours. I've seen in EY they are working a lot in risk advisory services, which is internal audit, risk management, ERM, COSO, COBIT profiles. I think US CMA are doing fantastic jobs there. Apart from that, so I think these are the job profiles for CMAs.
Right. I hope the question is answered, Nitish. Okay. Someone says, Pratik, I think, can one get into RBI exams after CA exams? That is a totally different
So
question.
RBI typically, if you want to write an RBI exam, so the studies need to be done in a way that your parents tell you how the pencil was made. Are you getting it? I repeat the I repeat my answer. How the pencil was made when you were a child. That is the level of intellect is required to pass the RBI exam. So you should be trained in such a way, since your childhood itself. You should know, okay, pencil is made of lead and all sort of stuff, what is there. So why thinking is more. So RBI exam is not so easy, because you're not into a reservations, right? So for an OC to kind of crack the RBI exam, there is a very big, you'll need to prepare very hard, like 2 years, because the grade officers of RBI which are there, grade B officers, grade A officers and all, right now the positions which are there in RBI is for grade B positions. So that typically, even chartered accountant,
Yeah,
if
the
you're there, but
exam.
but still you will need to pass the exam, which is really tough. It's almost like CAT exam only. We have seen IITs and IIMs writing the RBI exam, so it's not an easy thing to do it, because you require immense preparation for that. All right, so I would say that after a chartered accountancy you should definitely do it. And I'm so happy that you guys want to serve the country. I think definitely try to keep doing it, and at least for 2 years just practice it, and don't give up. And if you're not able to do that, there is an SSC exam kind of thing. I'm not sure what is that, and that is for income
Yeah,
tax and
yeah.
all.
For the central government.
Central government, I think that is where it might help you. So you
Mm.
can become an assessing officer and all, and I think you might be helpful for us also. So if you're connected with me, all the students who are passing that exam and becoming the AOs, commissioner of income tax, anyways you require IRS. So for that you
Yeah,
need to
that
do
is
it.
again UPSC.
Correct. So that is what it is.
Right. Okay. Okay, Kushal says, if one has achieved the CMA US qualification, after that, can he do CPA?
I think it's a good bet to do after USCMA CPA, because the subjects are overlapping. If you see there in USCMA part 1 and part 1 more talks about external financial reporting, which is similar to the US GAAP and financial accounting reporting of CPA. So CPA, CMA 2 subjects equal to CPA 2 subjects out of 4. So ideally all our students who are passing USCMA, we normally push them to do a CPA also, because what happens is in USCMA, the ideally, if they want a good diverse job opportunities, I would say US CMA plus CPA is a win-win combination, and would rather beat a chartered accountancy also on any given day, because he is having the management accounting knowledge, he is also having the reporting knowledge. So I would say even a chartered accountant in front of CMA plus CPA would be defeated. That's what it is.
Right. Right. So I think we have to come live again because the time limit of 1 hour is now completing very soon. So I'll just come live again. So guys, please stay tuned and we'll be coming live again.